If you've been keeping up with this channel for a while, first of all, thank you, and second of all, you'd probably know that I am a huge fan of The Mandalorian. It is easily my favorite show of all time, and it is actually top 3 favorite pieces of Star Wars content for me. So naturally, I was very excited for the spin-off show, Star Wars The Book of Boba Fett. While I did enjoy the first episode of Star Wars The Book of Boba Fett, it does have a major issue with it that really does bog the episode down. But first I want to talk about what I enjoyed. I really loved Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett. Ming-Na Wen is also great as Fennec Shand. I love the relationship between those two characters. I thought there were some really great action sequences, and I still just absolutely love seeing the era of the transition between the original trilogy and sequel trilogy. We see these astromech droids that are in the background that look a lot like the droids that the Resistance was using as opposed to the ones that the Rebels were using. So we're actually seeing more updated astromech droids just rolling around in the background now. There are also some really cool cameos, especially at that cantina, like Max Rebo, for example, and the cantina band players, which is really cool. I think at the end of the day, I just love being back in this world of The Mandalorian. This feels very much like The Mandalorian, and I kind of miss that, getting up, early in the morning to see a new adventure in this world. I missed that, and I absolutely loved having that experience again. I think my favorite part of this episode is the flashback sequence at the very beginning. We finally get to see Kamino in its just full live-action glory. Kamino was just amazing in the Bad Batch and the Clone Wars, and now has it's a very important planet to me as a Clone Wars and Bad Batch fan. So I just loved seeing that in its full live-action glory. And I also love that they reshot that one scene from Attack of the Clones, and kind of added to it, and kind of, updated the visuals of that. I thought that was awesome. And then it cuts right to Boba in the Sarlacc pit, and he's inside of the Sarlacc. It's just a really creepy scene. There's that rotting stormtrooper right by him. It's just so cool. All of that, from the very beginning, all the way leading up to this part where he escapes the Sarlacc, is just my favorite part of the episode. It was just such a cool way to start out the show. Now would be a good time to talk about my biggest issue with the Book of Boba Fett, and that is the pacing. I enjoyed all of the scenes in this episode, but I did not enjoy how the scenes were structured together. It felt very off to me, because the entire first third of this episode is a flashback, and then suddenly the second third of this episode is kind of less interesting. It's present day, and there's some interesting stuff in there, but it kind of just wastes time a little bit. And then in the final third, it's suddenly flashbacks again, and it just ends. Part of me kind of wishes this entire episode was just a flashback, so they could get all that out of the way instead of having to cut back and forth, because I feel like that might be an issue with the next few episodes. I kind of wish this first episode would have just been the entire flashback, what exactly happened between Return of the Jedi and The Mandalorian to Boba Fett, and then we could have kind of just gotten that out of the way and then gotten to the main story. All this being said, I remain very optimistic about this show. I trust Favreau and Filoni more so than George Lucas himself. And I don't even think this is going to be a big issue going forward, because there's not going to be flashbacks throughout the entire series. Honestly, I know in the trailers it shows that there is going to be a bit more flashbacks, but I think they're moving away from that, and we're really going to get into the main story in the next few episodes. What I'm hoping for is, what if there was actually a reason that this episode was structured the way it was? What if from a storytelling perspective there's actually a reason we needed to know that particular information now, and then later down the line we're going to need to know other information from a different flashback? I think there might be a reason why they're structuring it this way. That's honestly what I'm hoping. So I'm not 100% in love with the show yet, but I know by the end of the series I will definitely be in love with this show. I am very confident about that, and honestly it's great to see how the Star Wars shows have progressed, because I remember back 2014 when Rebels was coming out, nobody cared about the shows. Nobody cared about the Star Wars shows. But now these shows are generating movie level hype. People are just absolutely loving shows like The Mandalorian, The Bad Batch, and I believe the Book of Boba Fett will continue that tradition of just being this really successful show and this really crowd-pleasing show that's going to have a lot of fan service, but a lot of also really good storytelling in there. And I can already see that being set up in this first episode. Even if I think The Bad Batch had the best Star Wars premiere, Mandalorian had the second best Star Wars premiere, and then the third best would probably be the Book of Boba Fett. So while I do have one big issue with the Book of Boba Fett, I believe this show is going to be great. As always, thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you. And let me know your thoughts on the Book of Boba Fett in the comments.